that were supposed to be attached. I don't, unless I am missing them.
I'm sorry.
Does someone else, do you guys see them?
I did not include the backup, because I've never included the backup, so that's my error, but we can get those for you.
Okay.
April,
And
I
then,
have them right
I have
here.
another question.
When Kim gets back, if,
That's me.
So, what happens if the state doesn't approve, and we're approving this contingent, right? But then what if the state doesn't approve?
Well-
Then we still don't have one come July 1st. So then what happens?
well, in the past, I have been able to obtain a 1-month extended contract with the current provider. And so I would seek that route until the state approves.
So I almost feel like making a recommendation for a 1-month extension. I mean, I don't know, we don't have everything, but that's my thoughts around it, if that's something that we can do. And then I don't know the likeliness that they don't approve MDE.
I've never known them not to approve.
Okay.
It's such a rigorous process that they have complete oversight over, and we have to submit a whole package of data that they put together and we answer, and I can't imagine them not approving it because it's everything that they required from us, and the difference is almost $1 million in a year from our choice. So,
President Gray.
Mr. Coxon?
Through the chair to the administration. Earlier last year, by the way, I'm inclined to, I understand where the treasurer is coming from, certainly, but I wanted to ask the administration, it seems to me that at the beginning of last year, there was some discussion about our food service provider, and the board did some work, and it's my recollection, I might be wrong, that we weren't actually thrilled with what we were hearing from them and what they were doing for us, but that relationship improved quite dramatically. Is that your impression also?
From what I recall, yes. I know that Mr. Toko is really involved in those conversations and could probably speak a lot, to that information. But I know at first there was I don't know if I use a Rocky Start with food choices more so, I think, than the actual service and delivery of it. I think it was what was being served, not how it was being served.
The board actually was invited to a meal,
was the
and I don't
food
think anybody
choices.
was impressed.
Yeah.
And as a consequence of that, things got dramatically better, or at least that's what they were told. Is that the case? Is that people's?
Oh, Ms. Campbell, I think she probably even knows more than.
I do know that, I believe shortly before I came to this district, we got a new director in that program, and he has been wonderful and
Okay, that's what I
very responsive to any concerns. I don't have any reservations about him and his leadership, and he's been great to work with and great to answer questions and tackle obstacles and things.
And that's valuable to me.
Anybody else have any questions, comments?
I just have
Stephanie
a
Mitchell.
comment, I feel that we need to maybe, set up another meeting or something. We don't have the paperwork that we need and everything, and be able to review it. Was it in our packet? No.
She's getting a copy of it.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
Well, when she comes
But
back,
this is
I
the
have them
second
right
thing.
here that she
We
can
don't
make
have the
copies
bids.
of.
We don't have the bids, so those are two
Who's
different,
making those copies?
right, but those are two different items that we waiting on. That's what I'm just saying. Now you gotta go get some bids.
No, she has them.
I have them.
No.
Food service. I
Oh, how did you know?
have 'em. April texted.
It's like magic. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Ms. Markey.
Cause I was gonna make you come back tomorrow.
It's like you're magical. You're magical. You look great.
Does everybody remember, make sure you're looking at the food service item, because that's the one in front of us first.
Yep.
Go back to the other one once.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I'm inclined to vote yes on the motion with respect to the contingency with Aramark. We've had a long relationship with them, and as Mrs. Campbell says, things between us are really, really good, so let's try to preserve that. Is my thought.
Do you have any other questions, comments while everybody's reading over this?
Just had a comment. I just wanted, like she was saying with the contingency, just go ahead and approve. I mean, because we're saving money, so.
And, I mean, if we were to ask for the extension now and not vote on this tonight, there is the chance they could say no to the extension, right?
It is a little late in the game to ask for the extension because it's got to go through MDE approval. I don't know if it could even, I mean, if they're so buried in contract approvals, I'm not sure that they would set those aside to do this. It's basically one person.
That's fine.
Just a point of clarification. So if we ask for an extension, we would start the process all over again? Or we're just
No,
asking
we
for an
would-
extension on a contract until it is approved by MDE, right?
The extension is another process that MDE would have to approve. So
Okay, that's what I'm asking. Okay, so
they would have
MDE
to
would have
approve
to
a
approve an
one-month
extension.
extension.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you
Alright.
for that.
Is that Mitchell?
So my question is Aramark who we use now? So did you include this amount in the budget for 2025 already?
Just point of clarification, which amount did you use?
It's on the food service budget.
But
The-
I know, was it the Aramark or the SFE?
The Aramark.
Okay.
Yes, I included that in the increase in operating costs in the food service budget.
All right, do you have any other comments?
I just have a comment, if it's already added to the budget and we haven't voted on it, this is how things was done in the past. It was added to the budget and then we voted on it. So just in the future, if it could be brought to us, because this wasn't even in the finance committee meeting.
Dr. Weaver?
Thank you. Ms. Abney Mitchell, if I could just speak
Yes.
to that. There's a big difference between the budget and the budget projections.
Okay?
We know we have to have a food service
Yes,
for
we
our
do.
district. So I think what you're talking about, unless I'm getting it wrong, is the reason that was put in the budget is obviously because we have to have it. So I
But
hope that
this
answers.
this amount for Aramark was already put in there.
Yes.
Not the amount for the other venue that had opportunity if we so decided to vote for them. So the choice was already made. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, when she's making the budget, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Campbell, you have to put a number in there.
But she
So,
put in the lowest number as opposed to the higher. So she made the choice for us. That's what I'm saying.
for a projection, I
For
mean,
projection, yes. So if you wanna project 2 million, and then you bring it to the board for the vote, and we already gonna go 1 million over, we already in trouble in our budget, so I'm just saying the decision was already made for
Well,
us through the projection.
I mean, Ms. Campbell has to make estimates, and she's going to estimate that the board
But
is going to choose
we
the
also have
provider
a
that's
finance
$800,000
committee that-
cheaper. Ms. Abney Mitchell, I'm speaking.
We
Ms.
already,
Ms.
we
Campbell is going to use
also
the
have a
realistic
finance
choice
committee.
of believing that we're going to pick the one that's almost $1 million cheaper. I mean,
Well, I don't agree with that. I feel like my vote was already made for
but it
this
wasn't. You
company.
get to vote right now. If you
Okay.
would like to vote now, you can. And Ms. Campbell then, in our next amended budget, would amend it to being what it was based on what their vote was.
If I may,
Yes, ma'am.
really quick, I think what the point is that Ms. Abney Mitchell was making is in trying to not continue to do things as we've always done them. This was discussed briefly in finance, but the bid sheets were not shared in finance, the amounts were not shared in finance. We were told that the contract would come later, and I understand why, because you were waiting for the approval from MDE. But because we didn't have that, then we came to the table today with absolutely no knowledge. So that's just the point that Ms. Abby
Just-
Mitchell was making. So in the future, when we're working on when we're getting bids, we're talking about making decisions around contracts, bringing that information to finance so that it's not completely new when we get to this table.
Point of clarification though, but wasn't this included when you presented the budget to the board on that June 4th meeting? And she specifically said then that we went out for two, one was $1 million cheaper, so
Right,
You're-
but
We
that
went to
was all
bids.
that was
That's
said.
correct.
but there were two bids and one of them was $1 million
Okay.
cheaper almost.
So
That's-
I made my request, and that's where I stand with that. Just so we're clear, because we're trying to move differently, not the way that we've always moved. And it's not an attack on Mrs. Campbell at all, because we thought the contract was coming, the contract
Yes.
didn't come, so we came here today. And now
Yes,
we're
because-
scrambling, looking for things, and
Because
that's all.
we actually
was
made a
said.
plan that I was going to get
Right.
that to the board as soon as it
Exactly,
came in.
exactly.
Still hasn't gotten here.
So we're good to move forward with the vote.
Ms. Hines?
What is the vote on?
To approve,
The contract with the contingency.
yeah, to approve business service item 4 to renew, 5 to renew food service management contract.
Okay.
For Airmark.
For
That's our
earmark,
current.
that's what I'm just
Contingent
saying.
upon the MDE
Right.
approval.
This has already been decided.
It has not. You are about to vote right now.
Okay.
If you would
go
like to
ahead.
vote no, you are more than welcome to do so.
Yes.
Okay, so, Mr. Neal,
Yes.
Ms. Hines, yes, Ms. Abney Mitchell,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
Ms. May,
Yes.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
President Gray.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay.
I'm actually going to request that we take a brief recess so that everybody can take a look at the state aid note workshop sheet. Is everybody good with 5 minutes, or do you think you need a little more?
I need 10, I need to use the restroom first.
Okay, so 10 minutes. We will reconvene at 8:57.